Everyone, I have been asked to do a picture from Rita Berman's The World Under the Microscope on Land, or Lande as I just call it, and I found this picture which I thought was rather appropriate for the time of year. I'm just trying to find some pieces of paper to pop behind the page. Here we go. So we have our bunny. It's just slightly Eastery, but I think it's spring-like and it's fine. We don't need to think of it as necessarily Eastery. So yeah, let's just pop that under there. And I decided I'm going to have a go with my Derwent pencils. I've just realised I haven't got the right sharpener in here, but I shall grab that in a minute. But I just thought I would show you these two swatch charts which I'm going to be using to help me select colours. So I have Derwent Lightfast 72 pencils, and so I've made a swatch chart for these, and I have one for the Derwent drawing pencils as well, which are much more earthy tones, which I rather like. I do have a few other Derwent pencils as well, a bit of a mix, so I might be using a few of the others, some more from the Lightfast set that aren't in the 72, because I think there's 100 now, maybe, and some Coloursoft and some artists and all sorts of bits and bobs. So I've got a few others that I may or may not use, but these two swatch charts, just to say, you can download those for free from my Ko-fi shop. So whether you want to swatch your own set if you've got some, or whether you want to just have a look more closely at the colours to decide whether you think this is a set you want to buy, they're there for you to download and look at, print or not, whatever you want to do. There's a blank one so you can swatch it yourself, and there's a coloured one so you can just have a look at the colours if you want to do that. And there's even, I think, for both, an Excel or Word format, so you can move them around. So if you don't like the order that I've put them in, you can switch them around into a different order if you want to do that. So I keep it all nice and easy for you so you can use it in the best way for you. So I'm going to pop those up at the top, and I'm going to stop the video to go and get a pencil sharpener, and then I will make a start on colouring our page. Right, I am here with my sharpener. I'm using my Derwent hand crank sharpener, but I find that the dowel 133 works equally as good with Derwent pencils, but Derwent pencils are not very good in just a standard barrel sharpener. They break really easily. Even the Chromaflow are better off in a hand crank. And although this one is really, really expensive, the dowel one is much cheaper, probably a quarter of the price, and equally as good, if not better, because this one, I don't know if you can see, has a little jaggedy blade in there which holds the pencil in, and it makes a little mark on the pencil, which some people really dislike. I'm not that fussed, to be honest, but so it's actually, the dowel doesn't do that. Right, let's come in. We're going to do the rabbit first, I think. I've been having a look at my colours, and I'm going to use the Derwent drawing pencil Soul Smoke Blue for the beginning of the rabbit. I'm not going to make him a realistic colour. I'm trying to find it though. Oh, here it is. Smoke Blue. Now the Derwent drawing pencils have a very thick core. I'm not going to need to sharpen this one, I don't think, because I'm just going to use it for the background. And then I'm going to colour over the top where these sort of teardrop shapes are and things. I'm going to use another colour on top. I just decided that I didn't want my rabbit to be a realistic colour. I just wanted it to be like a bluish colour, although this is quite green, I think, grey green. I don't know why I thought that. It was just when I looked at this page and decided to do it today. That was what I thought. So that's what I'm going with. If you would rather, of course, you could use a grey, browns for rabbits, that sort of thing. I would probably use grey because I'm going to be trying to match the page so it works with the rabbit, and because he's sort of bluey, he's going to be bluey grey, or she, then if you do it grey, then it's more likely to match him with the rest. But I think I'm going to go for the earthy colours that we get with this set. Mean that we sort of tends to look quite autumnal, but I think that's quite pretty, even though this is a spring picture, so we'll just see how it turns out. Now because the drawing pencils are quite thick, I'm only going up to the edge here. I'm not going to go behind the flowers and plants. We'll do something else there. later. Because they're quite thick, they're quite good for backgrounds because they cover a big area very quickly. But if you want really fine details, you can be forever sharpening. So they have pros and cons, but then all pencils do. I've not found the perfect pencil, I have to say. So there's just a little light layer. It does look fairly bluey. I sort of, on my swatch chart, it looked a bit green. I'm just trying to even it out a bit where I've missed bits. There we go. Now, for the rest of the rabbit, I thought I might use the ink blue. It's also from the drawing set. I am going to use some of the Lightfast as well. This ink blue. Now this one isn't very sharp. We've got quite a lot of little bits to do. We'll see how we get on because I'm going to use it in the ear first. And don't think I need it quite so sharp for that. So actually I might do the teardrops a different colour to this. This is quite deep, isn't it? Really quite dark. Yeah, I'm not sure I want my flowers quite that dark, so I think I'm going to pick something else. I'm just seeing what other grey blues I have. The dark no, what's that? The ocean blue dark. That's pretty dark. That's almost as dark as the... That's it there, yeah. So this is the ocean blue dark. This is a Lightfast. Okay. And what I'm going to do with these teardrop shapes is to make them a little more intense on the point and then just come lighter towards the edge like that. So just put a few more layers down there and then less as we go out. Quite straightforward. If you're using greys, then you can use, you know, a darker grey. It's not really crucial, I don't think, to get which tone you use because it's not a realistic drawing rabbit, you know. You could always just ignore these bits and just leave them, you know, drawn without shading inside them as well if you'd rather. You might prefer to put fur on across the whole rabbit instead and sort of cover over these bits, but I'm just doing it how Rita's drawn. It's actually easier for me, I think, than trying to work out how to do fur. I'm feeling quite chilly all of a sudden. I think the heating's gone off. I might have to go and grab a cardigan in a minute, but I'm just going to get this bit first. Oh, I've been trying to chase up my husband's meds, but been trying to chase them for ages and ages. I think there is a national shortage of ADHD medication. My sister just told me it was due to Brexit, but I'm not sure. But when I went into my local chemist, because I wanted to ask them a question about it, they said they hadn't had it in for months, but because he's gone private, they seem to be able to get it better. But I think perhaps they pay more for it because they're charging, you know, whereas if you're getting it through the National Health Service, you just pay the prescription charge, which is obviously very much lower than the cost of the medication itself. In most cases, for all medications, that's the case. So we'll see. It's supposed to arrive tomorrow. So anyway, I was told that yesterday, although they weren't completely. They said we're expecting some in today, so it will probably. So they weren't like, they didn't promise me, so I can't be too cross. But I was just hoping. But no. But anyway, we'll see. But I had to phone them up and check that he could take his supplements with it, because there are sometimes interactions. I think vitamin C interacts. It was like any. I had a look online and it said anything that is acidic, that causes acidity, which vitamin C is of course ascorbic acid, can be a problem. So I don't know, but they're going to find out and let me know, so that's good. Because he takes something called joint care. He thinks it helps his knee. He gets a bit of sore knee sometimes, and B12, which he thinks helps him stay awake, and multivitamins and all sorts of things. So I don't know if he really needs a multivitamin, to be honest, because I think he does quite well with his eating, really. He does have the same things every day, mainly when he's at work, but he has quite a good range. I make him a salad. I'm just realising that this here is a leaf from this plant and it isn't part of the rabbit. You may have noticed that too when you were colouring it. So I'm not going to colour over that with this darker colour. I shall make sure we choose a green that will just absorb that, if that makes sense. You can erase it if you prefer. I sometimes find erasing isn't very effective. So anyway. Right, so what are we going to do after our rabbit? I'm thinking that I'm only going to colour these in and leave it like this. I mean, you might want to do some shading along the edges of the rabbit to make him look a little bit more darker, a bit more three-dimensional, a bit fluffier, all those things, but I'm just going to do him like this and leave him. I think he looks so cute the way Rita has drawn him. I think I'm just happy leaving him like this. And it's got, oh, I did that one up backwards. I don't think it shows that much with the darker bit at the top and the wrong end. Now we have a bird as well near the top, and I'm wondering whether to do the bird in a bluey tone as well, so that we have both the animals sort of blue. Here he is. So I think I might do that. We have a really nice pale mid ultramarine blue in the Derwent Lightfast set, which I'm trying to move my book across a little bit. There we go. And I think what I might do is colour our bird all over in this, in the same way we've done the rabbit, and then get a slightly darker colour to pick out some of the details. Now, it's quite pale. I'm going to layer it up a little bit just so that we can see it. And I hope that he'll sort of match in with the, I mean, these are usually orange, I think. I couldn't be completely sure. But hopefully we can just sort of match it in. So I'm just going to go over everything, trying not to make the mistake I did last time in colouring over a leaf or anything. I don't get worried about that sort of thing though. It's really, really important to remember that most of us colour for relaxation, and so if we do a little bit that isn't how it should be, I don't want to say wrong, because how can, you know, we can choose how to do it. If it doesn't go as planned, we need to try not to get ourselves worried about it. We need to just carry on and just find a way to make it work, or erase it, or just try and ignore it. You know, it's not always easy. I'm not saying it is. But no, we don't have any other ultramarine shades, so I'm just having a look to see what we shall use. I'm quite keen on the sapphire, so I might do that. What's that mid blue? Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to go for the mid blue. I need to sharpen it so I have a bit of noise, because I think it's a more of a grey tone. It shakes the whole desk, I realised. I don't know if it shakes the camera, if it shakes everything. I'm sorry. So with this mid blue, it's mid blue 70%, just in case there's a different percentage one in the 100% set. I have to go quite gently because this is quite a sharp point, and although they supply this sharpener, well, they recommend this sharpener to go with their pencils because it's their own brand, the sharp point is quite brittle. You have to be gentle. I think that's the case for most pencils though, when you sharpen them to a sharp point. Even a really hard pencil like a Polychromos or a Stedler, if you sharpen it to a really fine point and press too hard, it will snap. So I'm just bringing the colour sort of down from each end and leaving a little bit as if we've got a bit of shine in there. I think it looks quite nice. You don't have to do it that way, you can block it right in if you want. You know, it doesn't matter. I don't know, I've just decided to do it like this. You can fill this bit in too if you want, you know. This, oh, I said this looks grey, it doesn't really, does it? I wasn't sure whether to fill in these bits, maybe with another blue, but I think I probably will leave them. I'm quite liking how it's looking, but you could certainly do that. I would say you could use the sapphire or the denim, actually might work quite well. A darker blue in there if you wanted to. I think just outlining it seems to be working for me anyway. I'm going to do every other bit of feather there like that. Now here we have quite a complex arrangement of little squares. I'm thinking I might fill all of that in. Maybe I'll just make them darker at the bottom. A few more layers there. Oh, husband's making a coffee. And maybe this bit I'll just make darker at the bottom than the top. Without worrying too much about those lines. I think they just add nicely to it. The same with this one. I think I might just block that in there. And there. And then for the circle, just around like that. Okay, so there are two critters. I think I'm going to move to these now because I know that I want these in an orange colour. Now in our Lightfast set we do have a bright orange, and it is very bright, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it as a base. It's called Flame, and then use some darker, more muted tones on top afterwards, so we've got some vibrancy underneath, because I think that's a little bit bright. So I'm just going to block it in. It's a very similar technique to the rabbit and the bird. Now Derwent Lightfast pencils are very expensive, and to be honest, all Derwent pencils are very expensive, but they are bringing out a new set of Chromaflow. Now Chromaflow seems to be more of a budget brand that they do, but actually they're probably one of my favourites with regards to, they've got beautiful, I'm just looking to see if there's any more of these apart from this one, but there isn't. They've got a beautiful blush pink colour. They do break fairly easily compared to something like Polychromos, but so do all their pencils. So having a budget one feels better, because if it breaks you don't feel so hard done by, if you know what I mean. I've got a 24 set which I was gifted, which is lovely. I haven't done the bird's beak or feet, have we? I'm going to do that now. Use the mid blue again. Sorry, I completely forgot. I'm just going to block in the beak because it's small. Now the feet, oops, let's just bring the feet more into the centre. I'm going to do it lightly and then just build up some colour on the lower parts of the feet. Oop, I predicted that, didn't I? So under here, it would be a bit darker there. There we go. Now Derwent has a blending pencil which can be quite useful. I'm just turning to my darker oranges, which I've sort of put down towards my browns. Let me have a look at what I've got. I think what's that one? Mars orange. How dark is that? It's not that dark. I think I might go for the sanguine. Where are you? Is that? Nope. That's terracotta, which would be too dark. Here's the sanguine. It's one of the drawing pencils. And I'm going to mark in some darker areas. I'm going to make it darker at the bottom for a start. You can see it's quite a more of a brownish shade, and then up the edge here, as if I'm sort of thinking that these are 3 separate sections, and so I'm going to treat them in as 3, so making this a bit darker. I'm thinking that centre bit is usually dipped in on these. I'm thinking they're what I used to call as a child a Chinese lantern. I don't know why we used to call them that. The sort of papery flower, but I don't know if that is what they are. But this one, I'm going to do a bit fainter, I think. Just leave it like that. We haven't got a thing down the middle. So we'll just see how it goes and do this one the same. So a bit at the bottom, a bit on each of these lines. And it just tones it down a little bit, adds a little bit of shadow and definition to the item as well. There we go. Now this is an actual lantern. I'm wondering whether to colour this in the orange colours, and I think I might. I'm going to do the sort of defined lines. It's quite unusual, isn't it? But I think it is a play on the fact this is a Chinese lantern, so that's why I'm doing it in these colours. Out of the lines. There we go. And I'm going to the orange, the flame, sorry, for some of the parts as well. There we go. And I think this bit, this is where it looks like that's the source of the light. So I'm going to grab a yellowy colour. What have we got? There aren't any yellows in the earth tones, there's an ochre, but we'll use the mustard. It's a really intense yellow. I think it would be ideal for this. There we go. Yeah, as I was saying, I do feel that the Derwents are quite overpriced for what they are. Now, I need a green. I think, let's have a look. I want the grass green, but I think mine's really teeny tiny. Yeah, this is my grass green. Can't fit it in my sharpener. So I'm going to have to use a barrel sharpener and see if it works. Oh, it does. So yes, this is grass green. It's not just, it's grass green. There is a grass green 70% as well. I'm going to use this for the, just this particular thing. We'll have to use some different greens or else I'm going to run out of pencil. You can buy all of Derwent pencils open stock. So you can go to colouredpencil.shop, which is where I buy mine, or of course Amazon, and you can buy them. This is like a little ribbon holding it up, but it's part of this other vine. So I think I am going to, we're trying to work it out. So that goes there to this bow, and that goes there. It could be that and that. Maybe I will do the ribbon in this colour. Yes, colouredpencil.shop has all sorts of open stock pencils. So she has Prismacolor, which is quite difficult to get in the UK. Polychromos, Derwents. She has Caran d'Ache. and she even has things like Neo Colour. I think she might have some of the Distress inks, or is she alcohols? I'm not sure. But a big range. I'm going to do that bit. Is that mine in shot? No. Look, there's a little bit here which I almost think is a bit of this. Like that. And then when we go back along, we'll see there's a bit here. Oh, and a bit here. So I'm going to do all those bits. Okay, next I'm going to do these sort of, let's try and get you all in shot. I'm going to do this sort of ivy. Let's try and straighten you up a bit. And I think that will be quite dark compared to the colours we've got so far, but I want it to sort of match in. So I'm having a look at my swatch chart and I'm thinking the vivid green is quite bright, but it isn't too, it's bluey-ish, but not too bluey. And I always feel like ivy is quite bluey green. So that's what I'm going to use. So the Derwent does provide a sell a blending pencil. I think I don't know if I've got one in here. No, I haven't. And I find it pretty good. It blends everything I've tried. It works with, which is obviously great. It helps, like when you sometimes put down the Lightfast, I find they sometimes feel a little bit sticky and they don't always give perfect coverage over the paper. I'm just block colouring at the moment. I'm going to do this outliney bit a bit lighter, maybe it should be darker, I'm not sure. Anyway, so I find that blending pencil works with all brands. It has a bit of an advantage over the Prismacolor blender in that it doesn't blend the black print. I find that the Prismacolor blender can actually smudge the black outlines on the on some pages. So I'm trying to do this centre bit a little bit darker, which is obviously quite annoying because you don't necessarily want it to be black, especially if you're doing a sort of pastel shade or something. The Derwent one doesn't do that. It seems to work with all brands, but for me it isn't quite as good as the Prisma most of the time. But and it's unlike the Caran Dash blender that I have. Only doesn't work with all pencil brands. It's very strange. Some of them it just does nothing. Like the Lyra Splendor blender. It's a good name, isn't it? I used to have one of those. I think I gave it away. I just couldn't get it to work on anything. I've got a Staedtler blender. It works well with Staedtler. It's a fairly new acquisition. I probably haven't used it enough. I don't always use blenders. Sometimes I just like to leave it without blending. Now for this one I'm going to put some more layers in the centre. You can hear the pencil, how it's sort of sticky rather than the dry, which I always find a little bit strange. Now with this one again I'm going to do a layer across. There, oops, try not to go out the lines, and then a bit in the middle, a little bit darker in the centre. I'm not sure what colour to do this. I guess we should, it's part of this, so I guess we should do this colour for this. For this stem, I'm not going to do anything too special with it. I think just a plain colour is fine for it. Let's see where we're going next. Over here we've got part leaf here. We'll do this. Now I have been looking at this background. We've got a lovely magical look. I'm going to do again like the other one on the other side, a bit lighter on this edge. think that must be the edge there. A little bit darker, so just a few more layers along here. Oh, my husband was given a colouring book by his boss the other day. I might do a flip through of it actually. I won't be able to colour in it because it's not mine, but I think a flip through might be fun just to show you. It's a unicorn book. He loves unicorns, so I thought it's fun. Yeah, I might show it to you. I don't know where she got it from. That's the only thing. But I'm sure I can find it on Amazon if you want to buy it. Okay, now these berries I'm going to do again with this because we did that with the other berries. Now what colour berries? Well, berries come in all sorts of colours. It's often tempting to go with a red because of course they do come in red. I tend not to do that many red. Over here on my other page I've got orange and purple, which I think look rather nice. I'm thinking that I might do these in a purple because, like a violet, because I feel it will go with the orange and the blue. Obviously violet and blue will work, but actually violet and orange works very well as well. So I'm going to try and layer this up just at the top, but a little bit less as we go down towards this base. Although that doesn't work with the way it's sitting, like this will be darker because it's in the shade. I've done the bits here by the sort of veins darker over on the other side, so I'm just copying that. You don't have to get it exactly correct. You can change it about, you can do it your way. You can just leave it plain without any darker parts, you know, it is just up to you. It's your picture. Do it how you wish. I am going to have to stop soon though because I've got a sore throat and talking isn't helping very much, sadly. I've had it for a few days actually, but I don't know, bad today. But actually yesterday I had a really nasty headache, but I took a paracetamol, which is if you're in America, Tylenol, and it shifted it within half an hour, which was fantastic. Because I've been having some sinus headaches recently, which I think is what's led to this sore throat and things, and I could not shift those with anything. The paracetamols were not shifting it, but fortunately, and I haven't woken up with one, so that's good. I think I've been a bit busy entertaining guests and things like that. It might have been to do with that, I don't know. Right, I'm just putting a bit more in that centre there. There we go. Now berries, time for berries. Now these aren't particularly big berries, so we don't have a huge leeway with colour. Often with a berry I'll do a pale bit and then darker on top. I think I might still do that. What I want is a pink now. I'm going to use a different brand. This is the Coloursoft. I've got this deep fuchsia colour, which is rather nice. I need to sharpen it. And I am going to try not to shake the whole desk this time. I feel like my, I haven't sharpened it very well, but that will do. I feel like my sharpener needs oiling. It's really stiff compared to my dowel. So I'm just going to put, oh, it really smells, this pencil, when I sharpened it. I can't describe the smell. It often, you know, there's a nice woody smell when you sharpen a pencil. This one, not sure. Sorry. I don't know if anyone else sniffs pencils or if it's just me. But yeah, I talking in video, I think it might have been yesterday's, about how my husband's going to be working less hours, and you know, it's been a really tricky time, to be honest. He's been so stressed. I've been, you know, really worried about him, but I think the thought that he's not going to be doing it every day because it hasn't been organised yet is helping him. The fact that he's had his diagnosis of ADHD has helped him because it sort of explains things. There's a lot of stuff online with coping mechanisms and things which I hope will help him, but he unfortunately doesn't have time to look at them. I'm going to use the nightshade. It's a really, really beautiful, in my opinion, dark violet-y colour. And I'm going to go around the edge like that, quite dark, and then try and fade it in so when we get to the centre, we can see a bit of that pink underneath. Well, whatever, the deep fuchsia underneath. Yeah, so there are things, he's been watching some YouTube videos and things from people who have it, who explain their coping mechanisms, which I think is good. He found that there's a certain type of music that you can listen to when you're working which helps you to focus. He finds that quite useful. I don't know where he found that. It's like it's weird, I can't really explain it, but it's sort of like a rhythm, and it really annoys me. I hate it. He showed me yesterday all the symptoms of ADHD, and I read it through. I went, I haven't got it. He went, I know. It's like procrastination. I only procrastinate by doing another job that's equally important. You know, that's not real proper procrastination. Or I'll fetch a coffee and then get on with it, you know. Not finishing tasks. I always finish things. I love finishing things. I'm quite the opposite. I love finishing colouring book. I want to do it. I want to finish, you know, and sort of thoughts running around in your head all the time. I get that occasionally, but not all the time like he does. He has to have something on, some noise on, so that it can quieten the voice, like I say voice in his head. It's not like he's got it's just his own voice in his head chuntering on about stressful things that are worrying him, you know. What else is there? Sort of forgetfulness. Haha. I do get that. But not being able to multitask, you know, if you're thinking about one task. I've also noticed this thing in him, which I didn't realise was a symptom, is sometimes I talk to him and he's looking at me, but he's just blank. His face is blank. He hasn't taken in anything I've said. Or sometimes if I'm sitting by him, he will just sort of touch me when I'm talking, as if he's going, yeah, I know you're talking, but I'm not listening. And I've observed this, and it used to annoy me, as you can imagine. But now I know that it's because he can't concentrate on two things at once and his brain's doing something else. So I know I have to just be patient and wait. If it's really important, wait and write it down and give him a note, email him or send him a message, or just wait until he's ready to listen to me. So just tap him and wait until he actually gives me his proper attention. So I'm having to learn as well, and I think it will really help both of us to have a few techniques. Right, I am going to leave that for today. I have actually done 36 minutes. I need to go and get a drink and see if my throat gets better. See if I can record again today or not. I may just leave it. I want to look after myself, so I may just wait. I'll see how I get on. But yeah, we've got some more berries to do, which is lovely, and flowers and things. I've got some ideas for all of that, actually. I know what I want to do with it. It's just the background, I'm not sure, but I'll find something. We'll do something simple with some pastels. I'm sure we can do something. The picture next to it here, this didn't need a background at all, but this, because we've got these dots and things, I'd like to do a background and then draw that in with some pen or something. So I feel like this one just needs it. I think it's because everything's overlapping. I don't know why. Anyway, we'll see. When we're finished, I might change my mind. But today, that is me. So thank you for watching. I hope that was okay. Yeah, as I said, I'll leave some links to the downloads, so you can go and have a look at them if you want to for the Derwents. And if you want some comparison charts between Derwent and a set of pencils that you've got because you want to colour along and you haven't got the right pencils, let me know. Some of the colours are rather unique, but I'm sure I can come up with some close-ish matches. Things like the ink blue, which actually we didn't use in the end, but these dark blue, grey blues, quite unique, I think, to Derwent. But anyway, thank you for watching today. Have a really super day and happy colouring.